you're in the position to win.
Got it! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
All right, Boys Are Live, episode 104. Absolutely massive show today. We're breaking down championship week. And to be honest, the NFL has given us quite a bit of news to get started here. But, you know, how are we feeling? There's no football tonight. I mean, well, I guess technically there is. There's the Canada-Honduras game that's about to get started here in about a half an hour. So if we're counting down to any kickoff, I guess it's that one. That's the best we got right now. But how
I didn't even know that's happening. What is this? Canada, Honduras?
Canada and Honduras are playing
like actual football, or are we talking soccer?
Soccer.
Oh, okay.
Of course, not actual football.
That's why I was like, "What the hell?" Well, you kind of. I guess football.
It depends on what crowd you roll in, what actual football is. But I know Liam is a soccer guy, and this Honduras game is probably one of those another stepping stone for Canada to make the World Cup. I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but somebody will, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think we might have already made it, haven't we? Did we qualify already, Liam?
Not officially.
No? Okay.
That was a hard no. For people that can't see what Liam just did to Kalen there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He took the biggest bite out of a hamburger and just stared at Kalen in the face. Anyway, boys, how we feeling? Chad's enjoying a bangarang because that's what we do now. So, well, maybe anyway. Kalen's over there Kalen's drinking tea, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty geared up for like a weekend here. We're gonna only pretty much talk about football in a second, but
it's wild to hear how excited you are with the news that came. Like I knew we saw it coming, but when the final video came up, shit, I was tearing up for you.
Look, here's the thing. I expected that to happen this weekend. Tomorrow, we got the Scotties tournament starting. We got a little bit of money. We got a friend playing in that, so we got a little bit something to cheer for. Saturday, we got the Royal Rumble and an absolute slate of college basketball games. This is probably going to be one of the first Saturdays that most, like you guys are probably going to tune in. We got Kentucky and Kansas on Saturday. That's a wild one.
That's a game I'll watch.
Yeah, and it's at 6 o'clock on a Saturday. I mean, why wouldn't you? Get you ready for the Rumble, and then Sunday, things are happening. We got the championship game. So, you guys I don't feel the energy that I have coming off of you guys. Kalen,
I would go to
turn his
wording
energy up a little bit, and I mean, I thought he'd be getting some of that radiation from that electric sweater he's wearing, but it hasn't kicked in yet. So, boys, fire it up. Drink your tea.
Get it in you.
Yeah. All right. Well, NFL news. We get things going here. What Kalen was referencing, what Chad was nice enough to put on here is Shane's moment. Ben Roethlisberger finally decided to officially call it a career today. So thank you to Ben Roethlisberger for all the memories. 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 6 NFC championships, all the division titles, absolutely owning the state of Ohio, which is amazing. And really the only team that he couldn't get over was the Patriots. And we had that one locked down, and Jesse James caught the ball, and you'll never convince me otherwise. But, you know,
so Shane, is this it for him in the NFL? Like, I'm not talking about playing, but I'm talking about, is he come back in some way as, you know, administration, coaching? Is he that kind of player? You've seen him long enough, obviously.
He's a media guy. He's going to be on TV somewhere. Don't be surprised if he pops up on this new Amazon deal. They're really looking for a face, and Ben Roethlisberger gives him instant credibility. Look around the league. If you play quarterback for the Cowboys or the Steelers, you're gonna get a deal that you want. I mean, even Cordell Stewart used to be on TV. I'm sure if you go to some like local channel somewhere, Tommy Maddox is on TV.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this at all, but honestly, that is it's exactly where I was going with it. I wondered if Ben was going to be this star that Amazon needs for their network, and it's the perfect guy that has still just enough mojo. Because when it's going to take off next year, or is that following year?
I think it's starting. They got Thursday Night Football like starting next season.
This year. Yeah, it'll still be obviously very, very relevant, and he's a smooth talker when it comes to football. So I think that would be a really good option for them. It's pretty smart. Yeah.
And Chad's about to crank another bangerang.
Yeah.
Chad, I don't know if you read the same story, but I thought that this is one that you would find interesting. Ben Roethlisberger was almost traded to the 49ers. And,
yeah, I didn't see that.
Okay, and the only reason that it didn't go through is because the coach at the time, and his first name's escaping me, but his last name's Singletary.
Mike Singletary. Shut it down.
He said that it was during all the allegations times, and he said that he had just told his team that he was looking for high character guys and that he was going to give Alex Smith a chance. So he didn't want to trade for Ben Roethlisberger. Now, if that isn't a reason why you are no longer a head coach in the NFL, I don't know what is.
Well, it could have been that, or it could have been the hissy fit that he threw with Vernon Davis on the sidelines. That wasn't too good either. Remember when he kicked
he has
him
a
off
couple
the field?
things that probably wouldn't work out so well for him, but he
Yeah,
came out and
bad
said
decision.
being a Hall of Fame player made it difficult to be a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you make only bad decisions. So,
I think Ben's gonna coach. I actually don't see him going to media. I think he's gonna.
really,
I think he'd be a great college football coach. For the reasons why you're saying he'd be good on TV, for the credibility, he's a phenomenal talker. He can lead. The guy was a winner. I think that guy
he is a winner.
college
He
football.
was a winner. He is a winner, Chad.
Sorry, he retired, so I was saying past tense. But yeah, no, I think he's be a perfect guy for a college football program. I don't see him being at the NFL level, but I could see him definitely coaching in college. And think of all the guys, think of the recruits you could bring in if your OC and quarterback coach or head coach is an NFL Hall of Famer. We've already seen one guy flip a whole culture around with the same kind of credentials.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. I'm not. I think that he's a quiet leader. I don't think that he draws, like, he can't command a room. You know, he's not Drew Brees in the huddle. He's not Tom Brady. You never see him with the emotions. You know, picture last year in the playoffs, him crying on the sidelines with Pouncey, and like that's because he gets too attached to the players, and maybe that would make him not as I don't know. I see TV, but I mean, coaching TV, he definitely has a career in whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
And
Once
back
again,
to, sorry.
That's why I was saying in college, because like his attachment to the players, at that level, you can be that guy. You don't have to be a rah guy. You can have your coordinators or position coaches be that guy. But if you're cool and calm on the sidelines and everybody knows they can turn to you, like how you would do a 2-minute drill and your team turns to you and they know, hey, we got Ben there, we're good. That's all you have to do as a head coach.
Yeah.
Conduct order, keep everybody keep the peace, like be a manager is literally what you are as a coach. And then with that connection to the players, I think that's where like the college program works. And he stayed in Pittsburgh for 18 years. That's a loyalty thing right there. He didn't jump ship. He didn't say, hey, I'm out. Like, he could have left probably 3-4 years ago and had a couple more years. He chose not to. So I think, if I'm a college program, those are all things that I would want to bring into my culture.
So two things I want to bring up there. We were talking Mike Singletary because I had oddly just had this conversation the other day, and I thought we were talking with somebody about his coaching record. He went and coached high school after the Memphis Express. He coached there for the USFL or whatever it was. He went 1-21 in 2 years down in Texas for high school football. So he's garbage. He's absolutely garbage. And another thing, talking about bringing a culture to colleges. This wasn't on the rundown at all, Shane, but I don't know if you guys saw it or not. Did you see the Jackson State and what they did today?
No.
The quarterback signed with Gatorade. He is the first player in that conference to sign a sponsorship deal like that.
Wow.
Deion's son, like Shador.
Yeah.
But he's also the face of Brady. He's the face of the Brady brand too.
Oh, jeez.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
He's doing okay.
He's not the typical college kid that's eating ramen noodles, is what you're saying.
No, but I think he was one of the first ones that made that switch over, right? That kind of made the transition for Jackson State. We're having these big stars going there, and to have them get a sponsorship like Gatorade, like that's big, man, right?
Well, he went there because his dad's the coach.
He could have picked any school he wanted.
Yeah.
Alabama wanted him. That was one of the schools on his list.
Yeah, and beyond the Roethlisberger retirement, I mean, whatever he wants to do is what he's going to do. He could just ride off into the sunset and go raise his kids with his wife and the guy that we never really hear of. But I think we will. Sean Payton also walks away from the Saints, which is like absolutely amazing. I was waiting for the news of Mike McCarthy to get fired, but I haven't seen that break yet.
Yeah, he walks away $74 million in the hole, but he does it like after all of these other coaches had these chances to be interviewed and such. Like you've really put them behind the eight ball. We'll talk about obviously Leftwich later, but he was one of the guys that they put in a request to do an interview with. Like how far behind are you at this point when you're putting an interview after 3 other teams requested an interview and some have already had 2 with them?
All I know is that I'm $74 million in the hole. I don't have a quarterback, and I have I would say a pretty close to Hall of Fame coach's resume. I'd walk away too.
Yeah.
Why would you ruin everything you've worked towards and that you've built? Like that team is gonna be bad for a couple years. I wouldn't want my name attached to that.
Well, to be fair though, I mean, as a Saints, if I was a Saints fan, I'd be pretty pissed off. Like you have a guy who you sat there and said he doesn't have a quarterback. No, they got his quarterback. They got who he wanted and re-signed multiple times and helped put this team in the hole to where they are. I don't think that Sean Payton, after a decade long or however long he was with the Saints there, didn't have say on the contracts or who was getting signed in any way, shape, or form. He contributed to every bit of this and then walked away when the times got tough. And I think that it's one thing for Breeze to do it when it looks – he actually did it to help the team. Retiring actually helped the team cap-wise in that scenario. But this Payton walking away to me it's a black guy leaving the team the way you did. You should be there through the rebuild that one last year, maybe 2 years, and then transition it over to one of your guys in your area, in your team.
Transfer portal. Fucking him out. It's that simple. That's the way we work these days. It's literally what it is. He's going to go sit out a year. He's going to go hop on TV for 1 year. And then when Mike McCarthy gets fired next year, he's going to come on right back. He's going to pull the good old Bruce Arians.
So we're looking at pick a color commentator. And then we got Ben Roethlisberger, Sean Payton, and voice, let's put Charles Johnson in there because that guy's awesome. And we just made Thursday Night Football the best thing ever.
You mean Gus Johnson?
Oh, who did I say?
Charles Johnson.
Oh, yeah, he sucks. No, Gus Johnson for sure. Yeah, Charles Johnson sucks. That dude's on NFL Network. Yeah. Could you imagine? That's Thursday Night Football now?
It'd be pretty tight. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, have you, like, I guess I would say it's pretty tight even without Sean Payton because I don't really know if I really have listened to a lot of him talk. Is he somebody that can ramble on and give, insider scoop shit or what?
The thing I heard is that he doesn't have a mouth for TV, so they're going to have a very hard time getting him on.
They make
I know. I know.
Bruce Arians work.
Yeah, John Gruden was on there for a long time, and that guy has got some shady stuff in his name. But
wow,
yeah, we went there. But yeah, no, there's the one I heard is like they don't think like Sean Payton, for TV makes sense, but was one of his former players that said they don't know if he could do it because of the way he talks. So now I want to meet Sean Payton. I want to have a beer with this guy.
Sean Payton has a movie coming out with Kevin James playing him, and that's going to be on Netflix. I can't wait for that. I think that comes out at the end of the month. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Could you imagine Sean Payton coaching Pop Warner football?
We're going to get to witness it. And the King of Queens is the guy that's playing him. This is going to be fantastic. Kalen, I love King of Queens. Yeah. I had the whole box set.
Yeah, I think between there was 2 shows that I think routinely I'd always see you watching in college and in the end of high school there, and it was 90210 and King of Queens. And it wasn't really you watching 90210, it was you with Big Fudge, but you were in there making sure to be involved.
Hey,
so let me get this straight. You watched 90210 with a guy nicknamed Big Fudge?
Hey, don't be jealous. Chad, you're my friend now, okay?
Yeah.
Don't be jealous because I had friends before I met you.
No, I will be. You were definitely a little spoon in that relationship.
That's what you think. No, yeah. I'll tell you.
That guy's 7 feet tall. That guy is 7 feet tall. Yeah, that guy's never the little spoon.
He's been the big spoon his entire life. He wanted to see what that little spoon felt like.
Yeah. This is we're stupid.
We're fucking dumb.
other coaching news. Apparently, Byron Leftwich is signed with the Jags.
Yeah.
That's obviously not surprising. He played for the Jags. He got drafted by the Jags. He was their quarterback.
What about the way that he pulled his weight? You've heard about the other story coming out of Jacksonville, right?
Haven't heard anything.
GM, he's getting canned. Byron Leftwich apparently gave an ultimatum. It's me or him. So remember a couple weeks ago I talked about Adrian Wilson, one of my favorite safeties, who he got an interview with the Giants actually for their GM position. He wasn't taken for it, but apparently Leftwich wants Adrian Wilson. So Adrian Wilson might be going down to be the GM here of the Jaguars with Leftwich as the head coach.
Adrian Wilson probably would have played on the Cardinals when Leftwich was down there, right?
He would have, yeah. And now he is like the Cardinals, like head of pro scouting, I believe, is what he is right now.
Yeah, I wonder if they ever played together. Anyway, I don't really know.
Well, no, Wilson. Wait, did Leftwich play on the Cardinals?
No, he coached there.
Yeah, I know he coached there. I don't know if he actually.
I don't think they really crossed paths that way. I don't think Adrian.
I think he hung it up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but did he go directly from Jacksonville to Pittsburgh?
I think so.
I don't know. I thought maybe he played in Arizona. Liam, if you got a sec, if you want to let us know if Byron Leftwich played in Arizona, my memory's not that good. This Matt Eberflus hiring in Chicago.
Gosh,
you already had a good defense. It wasn't really. I don't know. This seems really dumb.
Yeah.
If you wanted a defensive head coach, you should have fired Nagy last year. Arizona. No. Okay. So he played in Atlanta. Okay. I think if you wanted a defensive head coach, you probably should have hung on to Brandon Staley, he was a head coach, or he was one of the defensive coordinators in Chicago 2 years ago. No, and then he went to the Rams for 1 year, and then he moved on.
That sounds familiar.
Well, I don't know. I just don't understand why you would let somebody like that out of the building. You need somebody that can help Justin Fields and get your offense back on track. Your defense is good enough. I don't think that you need a defensive-minded coach. And Matt Eberflus, I don't know a lot about his scheme, but you're bringing him into a finished product. Yeah. I don't think that's very smart.
And I said it to you when they announced the hiring of the GM there. A guy comes right out of Kansas City. There is got to be something about Eric Bieniemy that we don't know about if the guy that's inside of Kansas City isn't taking the shot at hiring him as his head coach. But you need an offensive.
Nobody wants to take a shot on like the rinky-dink bullshit.
Well, I believe you in the sense that I don't think that that's the type of offense that Justin Fields would be successful in by any means.
Oh,
I don't think any other team...
X receiver so that your 15th tight end on your roster can run a option in a playoff game. Yeah, that's the head coach I want.
I just don't know if Bellamy or whatever the fuck his name is. If he can actually run that offense.
Just call him Eric. I think we can deal with Eric.
Eric, that's a tough one for me. With a C or a K on the end.
Eric B.
But yeah, he has all the toys there. How are you going to go to a new team without all these toys and try to do what you do? And you have once in a lifetime talent also at quarterback.
Mm. Well, yeah, they do have a tight end. I mean, Cole Kmet's a pretty sick tight end. Allen Robinson just turned into an absolute shadow. I'm not sure if he's good at
running the option. Is my problem. That's so. I don't think that I want Cole Kmet 3rd and 1 on the 5-yard line running the option to David Montgomery. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I will say that I am very happy that Eberflus gets out of the division. Like the Colts defense was no joke. They were very, very good this year. They're a turnover machine. Frank Reich obviously didn't have much say in it. The guy's an offensive coach. So to take whatever head of the snake you can out of the defense of Indianapolis is going to help us no matter what.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers said I'm only coming to play in Indianapolis if you guys get rid of Matt Eberflus?
100%. That was a deal breaker.
Stop it.
It seems like that would make a lot of sense. And I was actually talking to a buddy today who's a Broncos fan because I thought the hiring of Nathaniel Hackett of the Broncos might be the groundwork to get Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos. What do you guys think of that? Is that crazy? They got good receivers.
I think you got the Denver team makes sense for Aaron Rodgers. Like, think of the Peyton Manning situation. End of the career, go in there for a couple years. It's definitely a John Elway move. Mm-hmm. he would, and like, what team wouldn't give up the draft picks for Aaron Rodgers? He can play in cold weather, so that's not an issue. You have studs all over the field on offense. And realistically, there's probably a good chance that a guy named Devontae Adams will probably go wherever he went.
Man, that receiving core would be unreal. You're looking at
That wouldn't be
Devontae
fair.
Adams,
Jerry Jeudy, and Courtney Sutherland.
And they just signed Tim Patrick to like a big deal. And like, I know that that's probably not a big name outside of people that watch a lot of football, but that guy is a very, very productive receiver.
Yeah, they've signed both their wide receivers to long-term deals, didn't they?
Who was the other guy?
Cortland Sutton. Yeah.
He got signed too? Okay. So, I mean, they got some people locked up, but
I'm looking to see what their salary cap number is there.
There is 0% chance that anybody would say no to Devontae Adams if the deal came with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And, well, there you go. Somebody is shouting out the soccer game that we were talking about. They haven't even taken the field yet, but I'm definitely watching it. I got it on TV over there. I wouldn't have a soccer game on, but William Gardner, I don't know who that is, but
going to the A though, I said that earlier the Broncos are chasing a quarterback, and I think somebody like Russell could potentially go there in a trade situation. But I don't know if Aaron would choose to go there. It's a fucking gauntlet to go through quarterbacks. The AFC on its own is a gauntlet enough, but then you're going to be in that division. Like who the hell wants to fight those games? You know, he's in a pretty cushy division right now.
I think that Aaron Rodgers is starting to realize that iron sharpens iron, and right now, the fact that he's playing the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings twice a year probably isn't really getting him ready for the playoffs. And that's why when he faces a physical team like the 49ers, and it's not necessarily that it's all on him, but at a certain point, you just lost 4 straight games to the 49ers. Maybe you're not playing enough competition in the NFC North. Maybe you need to go to a division that's a little stronger.
Well, maybe I have to say it to the Rams. They lost 6 straight to the Niners.
Oh yeah, and
hopefully make it 7 this weekend.
I love the teaser that Chad put together, and I was gonna ask the Cool Bet guys to boost it for us, but I haven't had a chance to. But I'm gonna ask Pat. So Chad, I'll let you tell us what the teaser is right now, and if they'll boost it for us, great. If not, I'm betting it either way.
I'm taking the points on the underdog on both of them. It was the Bengals at 13.5. I think it's now moved to 13. Still taking it, no problem.
Yep.
And then the 49ers were plus 9.5.
Right.
And it's paying out it's minus 110 to the teaser bet parlay. But like, that's safe money right there.
Even if our boy, like, look, if we have to trick them and like say whatever, Kansas City or Cincinnati plus 14, 49ers plus 10, and we'll throw in like a Deebo Samuel's touchdown. I bet you we can get some odds on that. That sounds like fun.
But even still, like at minus 110, you're still not losing money on that bet.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, with that, so we're gonna jump into this AFC Championship game because apparently this one's the 3:00 game. I thought this was gonna be the 6:00 game. I was really hoping the Rams and 49ers were gonna be, the aperitif, and then we get into the main course. But we're going a little opposite here, which is okay. First question before we dig into the game: do you see Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow being the bigger rivalry going forward? Because, I mean, and let me tell you what I'm thinking here. So, clearly, if you ask anybody where the quarterback rivalry is, people are going to say Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. But Tom Brady also had that rivalry with Ben Roethlisberger, and Peyton Manning also had a rivalry with Ben Roethlisberger, which one of those was more favorable for Ben Roethlisberger than the other. But I want to know if these are this is the triangle for the AFC, where do they land? And people out there that think you can't compare any of these guys to Brady, we're not saying that they're going to be Brady. We're just saying one of them has to be the top
The
10
Brady
quarterback. Right. And I think we could probably all agree that's Mahomes, right? Okay.
It's like a massive love triangle in the AFC. It's what it's going to be for the next 10 years.
Right. And it might turn into a love octagon depending on like based on all these like really like great quarterbacks that are in the AFC and more to come. But
You know
like,
who the
where do
oldest
these guys
quarterback in
fall?
the AFC is with Roethlisberger retiring now?
I don't.
Ryan Tannehill.
It's Ryan Tannehill. That's right, Chad.
I know. I knew it was a homer question because only one person would know that answer. I don't know where he is on. There he goes that way on my screen.
Yeah, he's beside you.
Oh, nope. I'm pointing. Yep. No,
Yeah,
I went the
you
wrong
pointed
way.
the wrong
We
way.
tried.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, I pointed the wrong way too.
What a
we are
bunch of
absolute
idiots.
Anyway, back to the question at hand. Where do these guys fall in the love triangle?
Well, Brady's at the top of the peak. Not Brady, sorry, Mahomes. I would say he's the Brady in this equation.
Okay.
Just go like he could go to 3 straight Super Bowls. So until that doesn't happen, I think you have to put him at the top.
And yeah, I mean, just so people don't think I'm being a homer about this, those 3 quarterbacks that we named, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, those guys represented the AFC 18. Was it 18 consecutive years in the?
It was 18 out of 20 or something like that.
Yeah, it was something wild
years.
as far as AFC Championship games go. One of them was in a game for 18 straight years.
So who do you think is going to be, Chad? Is it going to be who's your next one? You said Mahomes is your Brady.
I think the big thing is going to be, and this is like, I know you love Joe Burrow, but I think it's going to be how are they going to afford to keep the weapons around him? So the Bills are built off defense. And so I think that will be over time. That's going to last longer, I feel, because offensive players get paid. That's the way the league works. And Shane can attest for this. A lot of great number 2 receivers think they're number 1 receivers, and they leave after their rookie deal to get paid. It's happened to Shane numerous times, and their careers have not panned out. So all these guys in Cincinnati, I think that's going to be their biggest issue is how can you keep all the pieces in place. So I would say that I think the Bills have the option to be that number 2 team. But yeah, the Bengals are a sexy pick, and they're fun to watch. I just think it'd be hard to keep all those young kids together cap-wise.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to counter that, and I'm going to say like how cap-wise I think because they have cap, and they're going to have cap for a long time. The highest paid player on Cincinnati right now is Trey Waynes at $14.5 million. Let's be realistic. Trey Waynes is on a $14.5 million contract player, right?
No,
so
that's wild.
That is.
However,
they're all on rookie deals right now. That's the problem.
You are right.
Former Spartan, by the way. Former Spartan.
Stop. You are right. They are all on rookie deals, but that just allows them. So Burrow's in his second year of a 5-year deal, so they're going to have 3 more years out of him. They're going to be able to ride 5 more years out of this wave. And by then, you're right. Our player's going to be like T. Higgins has only got 2 years left in his contract, but you got Jamar, who's going to be there. Jamar, sorry, is going to be there for 5 years. I don't believe that he's ever going to want to break up with Burrow. I think they're going to want to stick around. They're going to have to obviously invest in some defense and offensive line, and that's where
offensive line might be first.
Yeah, and then that's where the money really does kind of get shelled out on the left tackle or the right tackle. There does get paid out quite a bit, and Trey Waynes can't be your answer at a $14 million contract. So they obviously got to get something else there.
Well, and it's a rivalry that I watch really closely, and I am going to say, kind of in agreement with you. I think that if Mahomes is Brady, Josh Allen is going to be Peyton Manning, and Joe Burrow is going to be the Ben Roethlisberger in this scenario. Not everyone will be like, "Oh, why is Joe Burrow third? That doesn't make sense." I'm drawing the comparison from the horrible offensive line that the Steelers had from 2007 to about 2011, and all the wins and all the stuff that Roethlisberger was able to do with such a bad offensive line. And if you go back and look at his speech in that after they won the Super Bowl against the Cardinals, the first thing he got up there, he grabbed the trophy and he said, "Now who's laughing, O-line?" And that's the kind of thing that I could see a guy like Joe Burrow do. I mean, he's going to have to clear the smoke out of his throat before he does it, but I could see him doing something like that. And if I could tell you right now, would I be surprised if Joe Burrow is standing on the stage with Chris Collinsworth 3 weeks from now? I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Going back to the salary cap here, they got $57 million right now, and they get to roll that over to next year. So they're gonna have $157 million, and only losing a couple of defensive players. One of them being Trey Waynes, who's in contract year next year.
Who are you talking about? The Bengals, obviously. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Like they're gonna have near $200 million.
What I want to be clear about with the Bengals, and the same thing with the Browns, those organizations don't make good decisions with money. So let's pump the brakes before we blow our loads about spending a bunch of money. I think that they have done a good job getting a quarterback. They have got some offensive pieces around them. They've clearly avoided drafting the offensive line, and their defensive line doesn't have any depth. So hopefully, if you're a Bengals fan, and I'm being very, very
Steelers
fan. Yeah, I'm trying not to throw up in my mouth when I'm telling them what to do, but I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. But those are the things that you need to do. Take a page out of Dan Campbell's book. Get a D-line. Get an O-line. You already have, I don't know, probably the 32nd best running back in the league. And you got some good receivers around there. Just figure it out. I don't know. The Steelers won the Super Bowl with Willie Parker and Richard Mendenhall, so it's not like those are household names.
Well, yeah, they just have to, the problem is now, if they're starting to win, you're not going to get top 5 talent anymore, right? So now, you need an offensive lineman. You have to go to free agency. That's the only way you're getting, and you have to protect your investment, and that's Joe Burrow. He's already missed some time. So you're not going to get a top tackle now at 30, I don't know, 27, 28, 29, 30, whatever they end up picking. Maybe 32.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to go to free agency. A top tackle is going to be getting $25 million right there. So that's a big dent in that $150 million. All these receivers are going to want between $15 and $20 million, if not more. So I understand what you're saying. The next 3 years, I think the Bengals will be really fun to watch. But after that 3 years, it's going to be a what if.
Yeah.
And it's how well they can manage the cap. Because, yeah, you're not letting Joe go. You're not letting Jamar go. That's a given. Those two guys they're probably going to be lifers. But can you put the pieces around them to keep this thing going?
Yeah, and, if the way that contracts have gone for that, if you call it Josh Allen and Mahomes is the guys that we're using as our markers, both of those guys got paid after their third year. So we're looking at Joe Burrow not getting paid this year, but he's going to get paid at the end of next year, barring some kind of an injury or some kind of drastic fall. Or his agent's going to get in his ear and be like, fuck Cincinnati. Let's get out of here. This is bullshit.
Because he could be a $50 million man.
Yeah.
He's easily going to make 40 to 45 on a low end. But with the way that every year they make more money. And I'm going to use Dak Prescott as the bar. He got 38 or 39 million is what he ended up getting.
I think 38. Or maybe 38.
I will tell you right now, there is no way Joe Burrow makes less than Dak Prescott.
No, he's going to be somewhere in between the Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes contract.
Yeah.
I think.
But that's still the 4 years from now.
No, man, I think it's going to be next year.
Yeah, but Shane, what I'm saying is they still get to take him out on the rookie contract. His Mahomes contract still doesn't kick in, and that's why they're still able to have the players they do right now, because he's still riding the rookie contract. Then they can tag him with the 5th-year deal, which is the top 3 of the quarterbacks, which would still be below the new deal that you would sign a quarterback to. So they're still going to be able to ride him for 4 years. Chase is going to have 4 more years still.
You're missing what they do. So what they're doing is they're Patrick Mahomes this year. It's not his 5th year, but next year he's not playing under the 5th-year option. He's paying under a smaller base salary, and they took a huge signing bonus and spread it over the life of his contract. So his cap doesn't look so his cap hit's not going to look so big, but all of that's going to come down at the end. But he's Patrick Mahomes isn't playing under the 5th-year option. Neither is Josh Allen. No, he's not.
He is. Yes, he is.
No,
I guarantee.
No, they've already signed new deals, man.
They did sign new deals. They included the 5th-year option in that deal. The team takes the ability to do that because they get an extra year with the quarterback at a cheaper rate than signing him at a higher deal. The leverage is on the team because you're still in the 3rd year of a 5-year deal, and you still have to be able to put up the numbers over the next 2 years to earn that big deal in the 6th year. So the team has the leverage, and they give them the 5th-year deal. Go to Spot Track. You can see it. They're on a 5th-year deal, and they're taking the average of the top 3 quarterbacks at that time. It saves the team money, sometimes between $5 to $8 million. And the team has the leverage doing that when they're signing them in year 3.
So I'm going to tell you right now, Patrick Mahomes' cap hit next year is $38 million. In 2023, it's 57.
So 2023 would be his 5th year.
Yeah.
So he's in 57. 57 wouldn't be the average of the top 3 quarterbacks.
Is this not the 4th year for Mahomes? They've had 4 straight AFC championships.
3.
3.
Is it 3?
So,
or is it 4?
Yeah. No, it's 3.
So this year's cap. So in 2021, this is his 4th season. Yes.
So I mean, so in the 5th year, Joe's the 38, which is the average of the top 3 quarterbacks.
So right now, Patrick Mahomes in year 4, his cap hits $7 million. In year 5, it jumps to 38. In year 6, he's at $57 million.
That's right.
And then they're playing catch up.
That's the 5th year, and Josh Allen would be the similar contract, and that's exactly new with Burrow too. The team has the leverage.
You're saying that Josh Allen's contract next year is also going to be?
He has a 5th-year option. If he's in his 4th year, I don't know what year he's in, but his 5th-year option, the team always does that. The team would not take the chance at being able to pay a quarterback.
But you can't even pick up the 5th-year option until the 4th year's offseason. And these guys are getting signed in their 3rd year. So how is that even possible?
You're already saying that you're already saying
you don't even know what that would be at that point.
But you're acknowledging that you're going to pick it up in the 4th year. You're already guaranteeing you're picking up that 5th-year option by signing them to the extension.
I think you're just guaranteeing. I think we're talking semantics at this point, but we could break down the numbers. We're not going to get too much into it. Like, you can't pick it up 2 years before you're at that point because you wouldn't even know what that option is. So
Josh Allen is $17 million next year, and then he jumps all the way up to $40 million in year 5.
Right. So
year 5.
How would you?
So he's at the top. He's at the same $38 million for Patrick Mahomes. You're in
but
the
again,
same.
You wouldn't know that.
That's what I'm saying. At the time, that's what I'm saying. You're putting into the contract language at the time.
Anyway, like I said, it's semantics, and we can break down the contract off here. Because you wouldn't know what it is that far in advance, so you wouldn't have an actual cap hit. Liam is saying next. He's not interested anymore.
We haven't even talked about the game yet.
Well, we're getting there. Good thing you left that thing blank. Can the Bengals stop the Kansas City pass rush?
Well,
are we going back to talk about the contract? I don't know. I was asking you guys a question.
Yeah.
No, I thought I saw Chad was ready to talk, then they didn't. No, can they stop the pass rush? Can the Bengals stop the Kansas City pass rush? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We saw they had 9 sacks against the Titans. Come on, they're going to give up probably 5 to 7 against a team that's been a little bit better here.
Their defensive line is probably equivalent to actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that. Their defensive line is probably a step down from what Tennessee's is, but I don't think that they have the blitzing linebackers that Tennessee has. So, or the pass rushing linebackers, I guess is what you should say, because Tennessee doesn't blitz a whole hell of a lot. But
Melvin Ingram really had a second life. He's been able to play really well there.
Look, he made one play. I don't know.
He also has Chris Jones beside him, which really helps.
Called the coin toss.
Yeah. That's honestly probably the biggest thing he's ever done for that team. Probably because he's been in the NFL.
Anyways, I don't think they're going to stop it. There's too many horses on Kansas City's defense as far as that D-line goes, and the Bengals can't stop anybody. I will say this. If we are seeing how tough Joe Burrow is, but unfortunately I don't know if toughness is going to win football games down the stretch. Like, every time that guy gets hit, you're taking points off the board every time. And he's one hit away from being done. If he has another game like he had last week, it could be a really long day for the Bengals. They need to either keep your tight ends home. And prime example of this, and like, it actually hurt Tampa Bay, but it got us back in the game. They realized that banged up O-line could not withstand the Rams. So what do? We kept Gronk home. we kept running backs in the chip. And the Cincinnati's going to have to do the same thing. So I'm not even going to attempt to say that tight end's name because we already know it's going to go wrong. He's going to have to stay home. Yeah, exactly.
I've been talking about him all year. Come on. He's been a star.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to do him like that.
I guess we'll just go with
He couldn't even get out. He couldn't even get out Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's going to have to stay home. Joe Mixon's going to have to stay home. So now your outlet isn't an option. And so we're going to see the Bengals offense and what these receivers can really do because there's nothing underneath that's going to help them.
Yeah.
And
they're trying
it
to
worked out for
Joe Mixon into block. They're screwed. That guy sucks.
But that's the only way I think they can withstand this pass rush.
True. So will the Bengals regret not waiting to sign Joe Burrow and use his 5th-year option because of how banged up he's going to be after these playoffs? Or are they gonna
Liam's gonna fucking punch you.
I know. I did it to see if he was paying attention. Chad's drinking his Bangerang over there. I'm drinking Miller Lite out of a toboggan glass. We're all having a good time tonight. Is Tyrann Mathieu do you guys think he's gonna play? I haven't seen any of the practice reports.
He's still out as of today. He was out.
Yeah, Kalen, you get a little bit more dialed into like the Twitter and like the insiders here. So like, are you seeing anything that says he's going to be playing, or is this looks like they're going to go without him?
So I read that he was working out on the sidelines, and
so he's doing like individual drills. Which I think you can do individual drills if you're in the protocol, right?
Yeah, so you can. And what last week when Trey Hendrickson was in the protocol for the same kind of thing, what the reporter said that players typically don't do individual drills if they have any type of symptoms at all still. So he's probably progressing. They're probably just giving him an extra day or two here to do some more checks on the head, neuro checks, but I think that he plays.
If he doesn't play, it could be a really bad day for Kansas City.
Right.
There is so much miscommunication in that defensive backfield.
I'm not sure that Aaron Soren is going to be able to cover Jamar Chase.
I think you meant it's going to be a bad day for Kansas City's defense because overall, I think it's going to be another 40-point game for each team kind of thing. 40-50.
Yeah, it's going to be a fucking basketball game.
Yeah.
It's like watching a really bad college basketball, 2 bad college basketball teams play each other, and it's going to be like 43-45.
Yeah. One thing I didn't know about Zach Taylor, the Bengals coach, is that guy was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in the same year that Adrian Peterson played for Oklahoma.
Really?
It's kind of wild, right? He was a quarterback in Nebraska, and I mean Nebraska sucked for a little while here, but he played there. I guess this would have been like almost 20 years ago, but this guy was the Offensive Player of the Year for the Big 12.
Sean McVay was the Georgia high school football player for Calvin Johnson. So,
well,
yeah. If we're comparing things here,
jeez. Well, all right. Well, that throws a fucking big wrench into what the next question was going to be. All right. Well, what else? What else about this game, Kalen? You followed the Bengals pretty much all year. I've rooted against them pretty much all year. Give me a scenario in which they win this game.
Well, I mean, all you need is Kansas City just needs one mistake. And the defense of the Bengals played – now, the offense of the Titans last week played pitiful. But the defense played a lot – like really, really good. And if they can get the kind of penetration through the offensive line that they were showing against Tennessee last week, I think that if you get Mahomes running around, maybe we see early season Mahomes again. Right, have him making a couple of mistakes here and there, potentially. I'm not willing
doing that for about 24 minutes, and then that was pretty much it.
I'm not willing to count out the Bengals. They already beat the Chiefs, did they not?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not counting the Bengals by any means. They can score, and I think it's gonna be it's funny because like you're literally gonna be watching. And I hope we don't try to like put this game up against last week's game because like that's not fair to any football fan or to these teams. But I think it could be a similar situation. Like, who has the ball last? You have 2 quarterbacks that know how to win. two dynamic offenses, two defenses that are good-ish, good enough, and then you have two like I said, then both of them have kickers who can hit bombs. So if you have the ball with like as Patrick Holmes said, he only needed 13 seconds to win a game with that offense. Realistically, though, either of these teams could do that.
Well, like at the during the game last week with the Chiefs, there was twice during the last scoring drives there that Buffalo had back to back where they zoomed in on Andy Reid after the score and he had like the dumbfounded look looking down at his defensive coaches like what the hell just happened? And
you're allowed to say fuck on the show.
Yeah. Kaylen. Well, he didn't. It was a family show, man. He wasn't saying it. But that look though, the fact that we saw it twice in the course of 3.5 minutes just shows that there's some holes in the armor there. And I think a team like like the Cincinnati has just as much ability to expose that armor, the weak armor that Kansas City has on defense, and can certainly win this game. Like they can, if they get back to back, let's just say that they, defer the toss and they end up scoring before halftime and able to get the ball back and then score again pretty quickly because I don't think Kansas City's defense really can stop the Bengals. You're instantly up. And at that point, you're having Kansas City chase you. And I really think that if the Bengals can get ahead, they can certainly tame the beast in Kansas City. They can certainly make them chase all game long.
I think the most interesting thing is going to be when a team wins the coin toss, if they defer, how they manage that last 2 minutes of the first half. And like that's me being a massive football nerd. Yeah. But if you can milk that clock as far as you can go and score, and you get the ball back in the second half, that could be a 14-point swing. And like that's me just being a massive nerd, and like that's what I'm really excited for to see how this goes out.
And if there's 13 seconds left on the clock, don't kick it out of bounds. Kick it on the fucking ground so that you waste some time. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that we all kind of know where we stand on that game, and we haven't even talked about the NFC game. Matt Stafford versus Jimmy G. This is a guy, Matt Stafford, that has never won anything in his life. I mean, this is the run of his career. This gets him where he needs to be. This game in particular may determine whether Matt Stafford ends up being a Hall of Fame quarterback or not. And a guy on the other side, Jimmy G, who had his heir apparent drafted. Literally, they traded up for him. And this guy is on the verge of taking him to the second Super Bowl in 3 years.
3 years.
And for some reason, that isn't good enough. So where does this one go? I know that, Chad's got a lot of tie-ins to the 49ers here, so maybe we'll start with him.
First off, I think I'm actually more excited for this game than any other game. I'm an NFC guy though. As far as Stafford goes, it sucks for this guy. Like he had a great career in Detroit, but because he played in Detroit, no one ever really saw him, and like he still has that stigma. So unless he finally does something, he's just going to be Matt Stafford who can't win a game. Which is wild to think about. Like he's played in two really good games the last 2 weeks, and the mistakes on offense last week weren't his fault. Cam Akers fumbles twice, and a snap as he's calling out an audible. And it wasn't like there were zeros on the clock. He just fired that ball back. And as far as Jimmy G goes, this guy just can't catch a break. All that guy does is win football games. He doesn't do it pretty. He doesn't do anything special with the ball.
Because he's beautiful.
He might be the most handsome man in football.
We're not going to get into this debate because Liam's going to say we're going overtime. Maybe we'll save that one for Super Bowl week, but go ahead.
But yeah, no, he wins football. The guy's a winner, and his teammates love him. Like he drafted his heir apparent, and there was a low point in their season, they could have just said, no, that's it. Kyle Shanahan knows what he has in Jimmy G, and that's why he's still there. Yeah, they might be ready to move on from him, but Jimmy G's going to go out there and ball out the rest of the season. And he's going to he's playing.
Remember in week 13
playing
when we
for his next
Kyle Shanahan's head?
Yeah. he wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jimmy G's playing for his next contract. So there's a lot on the line for him, and I think hopefully he can do it. I just don't think San Francisco can go man for man against St. Louis. I mean LA. I did it again.
I think
It happens.
I think I've done it. I think I've done it every week this year.
I think the Niners are one of those teams we talked about earlier. They got nothing to lose right now. They're just chasing the dream, right? Like they're looking up, and right now, I mean, they're the team that's beat the Rams team 6 times in a row. Whose backs up against the wall right now? Who has more to prove? The team that doesn't have draft picks for the next 12 years, that has all this money invested in making it happen this year, right now, or the team that beat them 6 times right now already and has kind of coasted into the playoffs and taken out teams that people didn't really like. I mean, I know you were really happy that we're riding them going into the Dallas game, but I mean, they weren't supposed to win that game. They weren't supposed to win against Green Bay. Right? Like this is
the Green Bay one for sure. Like I thought it was a bad matchup for Dallas, and I mean, if Dallas would have had to play, I think Dallas might have beat the Rams if they played the Rams in the first round. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the Cowboys, the way that they play, they're a finesse team. You play against a physical team against the 49ers. They're just not built to play them. They didn't build that roster to play against the 49ers in the playoffs. They built that roster to play against the Packers or the Rams, in the playoffs.
Well,
in my opinion, that's
okay.
That's
but and all Aaron Donald is the one guy, the X factor that can play literally everywhere. But then, okay, look at the Rams. Are the Rams a power team or are they a finesse team when it comes to defense? They got a pass rusher who's a finesse in Vaughn. They got a pass rusher who's a finesse in Leonard Floyd. Aaron Donald's your power, I guess. But then everybody else there, like they're a finesse team, and that might be exactly why they've lost to the Niners so many times now. You got to like Kyle Shanahan talking. Yeah. Shanahan talking about it today, putting Tomlinson in motion. When you have an offensive tackle going in motion, used to be Juszczyk doing that. Now they got this 330-pound lineman doing it. He's talking about how it should be illegal. This shouldn't be illegal in the NFL. It should be illegal in general. Put it in the law books.
They did it with fucking Trent Williams. Ask for Sean Gary. That guy got jacked up.
Yeah. Like that. That's the stuff. Like They are a power team that I think really can take it to the Rams. And this week, unfortunately, because the way that the Titans lost, I had some Ram fans in my ear this week making fun of me about, just, back in 99 again and how this was supposed to be the year that maybe we match up. And unfortunately, they got ripped out from us one more time. I think the Niners can win this game. 6 games in a row in a division matchup. Let's make it lucky number 7 and go to the bowl.
So the last time Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl, it was against the 49ers.
Yeah. It's historical. I also don't want to see any more of the home team being where the Super Bowl's at. It was kind of neat for, one time seeing it, but I'm not down with it.
Well, it was great for the 1 year when there wasn't home field advantage.
That's a great example.
And I mean, really, when it comes down to it, there isn't like the actual fan bases themselves aren't the ones at the game. Like if you're I don't believe that the LA Rams have an actual like hardcore fan base the way that Kansas City does, or the Bears, the Steelers. Like those teams have hardcore fan bases. Those guys are also not the guys that are attending the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs probably have the most hardcore fan base of the group that's still left. Maybe the 49ers would be the challenge to that. But there isn't a hardcore
Inglewood, Shane. Hardcore fan base might be there.
There is not going to be a hardcore fan base for any team. These are corporate tickets. You're in LA. These are going to be LeBron James, who's a Browns fan, who will probably be wearing a Matt Stafford jersey if they were in it. He'll be there. He's not a real fan. Jay-Z was at the playoff game. Will Ferrell is sitting at a playoff game. Dwayne Wade and Gabriel.
Like it's cool to be a Rams fan now because they're in LA.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like that's who's going to be at the game in LA. So I don't look at it as home field advantage. And home field advantage, if you really believed in your fan base, you wouldn't have to do what the Rams are doing in the NFC Championship game. And they are blocking like certain, I was about to say postal codes. I know they don't have those there.
Zip codes.
They're blocking certain zip codes in California from being able to purchase tickets for this NFC Championship game. So if you felt like your fan base was a good fan, do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers have to block a fan base from coming to Heinz Field for an AFC Championship game? Not a fucking chance. but the Rams are worried that the 49ers, who have an actual following, are going to travel down there because it's really not that far. So they have blocked the fan base. I've been ripping Rams fans. I just realized Liam's sitting right there. Liam, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rip you. Yo.
Well, Liam's not going to the game anyway. He's a bad fan. He's not going to the game.
Liam, I wasn't talking about you. But if you're a real football fan, you wouldn't allow someone to take over your stadium. So the Rams have had to put this thing in place. And I don't know which one of you guys knows more about this, but I just saw it on the rundown, and it perfectly led us into it.
Wait, what was that last point you just said there? Sorry.
Yeah, it perfectly led us into, like, if we were talking about a home game for the Super Bowl, if these guys are worried about getting their own fans in there for the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl is the last thing on their mind. They don't give a shit about that. So what I'm saying is, how do you guys feel about what they're doing?
Well, to be fair, I mean, we're talking about two of probably the.
Didn't Tennessee do this too?
The Tennessee did it. Well, they're not the only team this playoff. I mean, I think every team outside of Kansas City has done this year so far. But we're talking about L.A., San Francisco, two of the most wealthiest places to live in, and these tickets aren't going for cheap. San Francisco's got money too. I can understand maybe why you would want to push their fans away. It's only a couple-hour drive to go down and pay homage to your team in the playoffs, and you probably can afford the tickets if you're paying $9,500 a month for a mortgage payment.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But if you had an actual fan base, you wouldn't have to worry about it because you're
like if this game was in San Francisco, I can tell you right now this wouldn't be happening.
I agree.
I don't know. The stadiums look pretty packed this season anyway. It was one of the loudest ones. I think they were even talking about that. I think it did break recent records or something like that.
Look, and look, this isn't a shot at the Las Vegas Raiders either, but the Las Vegas Raiders will sell out their stadium all the time because that is a tourist destination.
If
I went to LA, there is a 0% chance that I wouldn't go to a Rams game, provided there was a Rams game going on. That is a tourist attraction. It's a fun thing to do. All the celebrities are doing it. Think of all the businesses out there.
I think you're thinking about the Chargers here. This is how the Chargers attendance is, man. Like the Rams were like, there's a reason they went to LA. No, but I'm talking about like not being as far as like a hardcore fan base and such. The Chargers are shit. But like there was a reason they went to LA.
The Rams went to LA is because somebody had to, and they used to be there. But the team that probably should have ended up back in LA is the Raiders. And I think that any Raiders fan would tell you that. But if you have a hardcore fan base, I get it. It's a big. Do you think that Jerry Jones ever blocks anybody from coming into his stadium?
Not a chance. He doesn't need to.
Nope. And
I don't know.
There's no way. And it's not a shot at the Titans. I'm saying if you're LA, like there's a difference between the wild card game or the divisional game and the NFC Championship. You are so worried. It was like an hour after that game was basically scheduled. You knew the 49ers are coming into town. An hour later, you're putting out this saying like, yeah, we don't want those guys here.
But like you said, it's the whole thing is like LA is a tourist place. Tennessee is a massive tourist place. So like if I have a road game and I can go to Nashville, why wouldn't I go see a game?
Yeah, that's another one. I would definitely go to a Titans game.
So it's one of those things, right? It's like just say Tampa was playing in Nashville if they were in the same conference. You're telling me I can see my team go to the Super Bowl and I can hit up Nashville so my wife's happy? All day I'll do that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they're blocking them out.
I went to a Bucks game and I wore a Josh Freeman jersey in the stands.
Oh, that guy was bad at football.
Yeah, but I still did
it. That guy couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
Who was his wide receiver at that time? The one that he always threw to?
Don't get me started.
Vincent Jackson.
Was it Vincent or was it
Jackson?
No, that was Joey Galloway. I'm thinking a long time ago.
Yeah, Joey Galloway was there,
but he wasn't there with Josh Freeman. I don't think back then.
Something. Ben was the other receiver when they didn't draft Golden Tate twice, and that guy had a pretty good career.
Yeah. All right, we've gone wild here, and Liam, we're going to go into overtime because there's a couple things we didn't cover.
We went rogue.
Really quickly, can Cam Akers hold on to the football? And if you are not confident, do you see a lot of Sony Michel carries coming?
I think you have to. After what happened last week, he could have cost you a trip to the NFC Championship.
I think he tried.
I think, and I literally think he was like, how? I think he went to Coolbet and dropped some money on the Bucks. He hit the money line at halftime. Was like, hey, I can get paid today.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, but yeah, no. He's gonna be on a short leash, and I understand guys have to have their confidence, and I respect the fact that they went right back to him. But when he did it the second time, Cam Akers brings in a very physical element that you will need against the 49ers. I will give it that. But at what cost is it worth it to you? Now, do you go 95 and 5% split? Do you go 70-30? Or do you kind of that 50-50 approach? And I think Sony Michel brings in the receiving factor too.
Yeah. And I think you can be diplomatic about the whole thing. And I think Cam Akers starts the game. I think he probably gets the first few carries. But when it really gets to crunch time and it really starts to matter, I think that you're splitting carries. And it's probably going to look something like if Akers gets 15 carries, I think that Michel's going to get 12 carries. And I think Michel's carries are coming in the third and the fourth quarter. But you got to get him a couple. Yeah, you got to get him a couple in the first half just to keep him fresh. Now, I also see there's a few receiving targets on here for the Rams that we're kind of curious. And I know what my answer is, but I'll ask Kalen. If you were looking at Kupp, Beckham, Jefferson, or Higbee to make that play, where are you going?
I mean, defensively, like who do I double cover?
Well, who are you double covering? Or if you're Stafford, I mean, where are you thinking? I mean, are you looking at your blanket, your safety blanket in Higbee, or are you trying to go over the top and just get everything on 2 plays for an easy field goal?
I would say I would try and attack to Cooper.
Yeah. You are such a piece of shit.
I know a guy that he had Cooper Kupp over 8.5 catches, and he had 7 catches before that second fumble, and he had it on a props ticket for like $500, and he thought that he lost his ticket because they're up by 14 points. What's going to happen? And then everything happens. They tie the game, and he still needs 2 catches. Those 2 catches happen on the final drive, and the guy cashed a $500 prop.
Wow!
Oh,
anyway,
fuck that guy.
That's just a fun story.
He's not a friend of mine.
Yeah, that's a fun story for our friends over at Coolbet. But Kalen, go back to where you were staying.
I'm in on OBJ. The guy has proven it time and time again through the last bit of the season and in the playoffs so far. He can be trusted. He's a weapon right now. There's certainly going to be double or shading over on top of Cooper Kupp. Quan Alexander is going to have not a difficult time covering Higbee over the middle and taking apart that middle zone in general.
Quan doesn't play there anymore. Oh, he does. There it is. My bad.
Yeah.
As in Tampa Bay. It's like he left us. I'm still thinking about last week. I'm still upset, Kalen.
No worries. So he'll do his part to cover the middle of the field, and I think that does allow OBJ to kind of get those catch and goes, the yak yardages that we like to see out of OBJ, and I think that's who he'll have to lean on in order to get him that 7 to 10 catch game. Cooper might be kind of silent here, man. The defense knows how to shut him down.
Well, Canada's already scored on Honduras 10 minutes into the game, so that's a big one.
All right.
I think the answer to the question is yes. I think all these guys are going to be open.
Yeah, at some point or another.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be open, but the problem is going to be, does Stafford have enough time to get the ball to them? Because I'm not a big fan of the 49ers secondary. I'm not sure if they're going to get Thomas back. We'll see, but I think that all these guys are going to be open if they're going to be able to block them up, and if they can block them up, then they're not going to have any problem. I think it's going to be on the other side when is Jaylen Ramsey going to be a guy that's going to follow around Deebo Samuels? Can he do that if he's coming out of the backfield? I mean, that's putting Jaylen in a tough spot. Or do you just put Jaylen over Ayuk, or you put him over what's his face? George Kittle. I mean, where do you deploy Jaylen Ramsey in this situation, and how do the Rams try and contain some of these big playmakers in the 49ers?
Oh, Weddle's going to be all over Kittle.
So throw it to Kittle all day is what you're saying. This guy's a 37-year-old safety who the biggest play that he's made in the playoffs was going to be a huge penalty that almost kept him out of the whole thing here.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a testament to him, though. A guy walked off the couch and walked into 67 plays in a divisional round. That's pretty crazy.
He, like I said, he almost walked into the biggest penalty in his career.
I think, as far as the Rams go, I'm actually really thinking that I think Van Jefferson has to be an actual factor. Because they're going to do it. They're going to, like, you already know Kupp's got two guys on top of him. Red zone, everybody knows Higbee's the guy. That's where Matt looks. OBJ, he's going to get his looks, but I don't know if he'll be as much of a factor as everybody thinks he's going to be. Because I think you're going to take those shots away. So I think Van Jefferson might be able to run free. He's a young kid, too, so he's not going to get the attention from the defense as the other guys. So I think for the Rams, he might be the guy to look to make that big play if he can. And then as the 49ers go, I think this has to be Brandon Ayuk's game. Debo's going to do what Debo does, Jalen's going to follow him around wherever as much as he can. And everybody knows the ball goes through Debo and Kittle. So who's going to make a play? And Brandon Ayuk was a first-round pick. Everybody was very high on him. He let a lot of people down. But, you can erase all of that if you make big plays in big games.
Yeah, well, I think Jennings is going to run free for the 49ers. I'm not sure that the Rams are free deep.
And don't forget, we made some pretty big fucking plays in the last game of the season in order to kind of get them into the playoffs there, or a little help into the playoffs there against the Rams. Brandon Ayuk almost had 100 yards that game.
Yeah, so, and I think Ayuk is a big playmaker. And look, we're in for another amazing weekend of football. Our guy Liam is probably who we should all be leaning for because he has not experienced winning a Super Bowl. Oh, Kalen hasn't either. Sorry, Kalen. Sorry, buddy.
That close. You were that close.
It doesn't matter if you went by an inch or a mile, but I think that it would be a lot of fun for Liam to have a team in the Super Bowl. That being said, I'm going to take the 49ers plus the 10 points. That's easy. That's easy money. But when it comes to Kalen making some picks, this is a big weekend for you, man. You need to get some points here. You caught up. You're one behind Rick. You're two behind Chad. So basically, Chad's taking the Chiefs and the 49ers. So you need to take the Bengals and the Rams if you want to catch Chad this week. But it's a risk, I guess. So we will see what happens there. We'll make our picks on Sunday. Hopefully, we'll get a little cool bet boost going on here if we can figure it out with Pat. But we'll see. We went deep into overtime here. We're actually almost 10 minutes over here. So let's sign off here. Make sure you check out the Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, anything that we post, you should check out. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to have some big announcements at the end of this weekend, going into next week. Our Super Bowl show, we'll announce our musical guest on Monday. But I can tell you, if you like talented artists, you're going to enjoy this. Make sure you check out Chelsea's Scotty's tournament this weekend. And boys,